So welcome everyone to our wonderful celebration today. It's at CSL Midtown, Center for Spiritual Living. And I would remind you that such is the nature of life, that all it asks and all it wants is the opportunity to appear. You're that opportunity, and so am I, and so it is. What I know about this teaching, and what I know about this life is that we are a place where that one energy, that one power shows up. The whole world is that place, but we're a place that is aware of that. We're aware that it shows up as each of us, and therefore we celebrate each of you, whoever you are, wherever you're from, whatever you do, because you're the opportunity the Spirit has to come forth and to come forward in a brand new and great way. Whatever your background, wherever you've been, if you're choosing to celebrate your life as a straight person, a gay person, a married person, a single person, a blue person, a yellow person, whatever person you are choosing to celebrate as, we celebrate you. Because this is what life is about, is to be who you are and what you are. This is a wonderful opportunity here to get to know each other, to come together in a way that is meaningful and powerful, whatever your background, whatever your orientation. We like to say we are like-minded people, and in that sense, it doesn't mean we agree on everything. All you have to do is stand out there in the lobby for a few minutes and you find out that we aren't agreeing on everything, but we are like-minded in our intent to honor and recognize the goodness and truth and validity of one another and of our various opinions and thoughts about things. This is not a place where you'll be attacked for who you are or what you think or how you think. This is a place where you're honored and respected, however that goes, and wherever you are on the wobble within that agreement and that like-mindedness. To further understand who we are and what we're about, we invite you to join us, if you would, in reading our Declaration of Principle. You'll find it in your program, so stand if you would like. I believe in one God, one absolute power and first cause to all things. I believe in, and it creates out of a desire to express love. I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience. I believe in the unity of all life and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. So, today we have a reading by one of our practitioners, and it's actually not a reading, it's a conversation, and that practitioner is me. I am the practitioner today as well as the minister. I get to do two or three things at once, and I'm happy for that because today I want to venture into what is sometimes a bit of uncomfortable territory. So I'll warn you of that to start with. You can just go ahead and get uncomfortable, okay? No, I'm kidding. Don't get uncomfortable. What I do want to tell you, though, is that I was awakened this morning to the news of 9 people and, 26 wounded in Dayton. Yesterday, 20 people killed and many people wounded in El Paso. And this kind of thing has gone on and on and on. And I just decided that I want to address it. Not from a political standpoint, because I don't have a political standpoint on this, but from a human standpoint. And the human standpoint and the spiritual standpoint, which is really the same thing, is quite simply that there is one power, there is one love, there is one life. And our opportunity here, as religious scientists and as members of this center, is to look at this situation through the eyes of God. We are called upon to look at life through the eyes of Spirit, through the eyes of the infinite. And in doing that, there is nothing that is not good. And that's a hard one to hear. I am very sad. I am brokenhearted over the people who lost their lives, over the people who are hurt and wounded. I am very sad over a young man who is so in such pain and such difficulty that he sees the only way to get notoriety is to do that. I see nothing but hurt and harm and pain in this for all people involved. And I live in a world where that's not necessary. It may be happening, it may be going on all around us, but it's not necessary. It's not required. So I have two proposals for us. One, we're going to treat to know better. We're going to treat to move into a very different space in our own consciousness about this. I want to double dog dare you. You know my double dog dares. They mean like more than just a dare or a double dare. It's a double dog dare, which in the South means you've got to do this. I dare you. Do one act of kindness this week for every person that was harmed. One act of kindness. Multiplied by what, 40 people? That's a lot. That's a lot that'll make a lot of difference in our world, and that's something we can do. Don't get caught up in what you got to do to fix it on the level of right and wrong, good and bad. Fix it, don't fix it. Who's right, who's wrong, what are you going to do? If you get caught in that level, there is no solution there. But there's a solution if you rise above it to another level of consciousness where you can indeed know something better for every person involved and for every person you meet. We've got to overcome this with kindness. We've got to overcome this with love. That's what will turn it around. Not fighting one side or the other, not blaming this person or that person. None of that gets anywhere. It just makes it worse. So I invite you this week, 29 people who died, 48 people who were injured? You do the math. Do that many acts of kindness and watch how your world begins to change regardless of what else is happening around you. And know this with me. There is only one power. That power is love. That power is life. That power is light. That power is goodness. That power permeates everything that is, all of us, every human being, whoever and whatever we are. However we've chosen to show up in this life. Every sentient being, every particle of dirt, everything that exists is created from that one power. It is formed, it is shaped out of that power without ever separating from it in the least. And regardless of the appearances to the contrary, the truth is nothing ever separates us. Nothing can ever separate us from the love that God is, from the love that light is, from the love that life is, no matter how we may feel, think, or believe about it. So I turn my attention away from that idea of separation and turn it to the idea of unity and oneness and wholeness and completeness. And I hold in love and honor all of those who were harmed and all of those who were not harmed, for they matter just as much. My compassion goes out to those who were harmed because I can identify with harm in my own life. But that doesn't make it the ultimate reality. The reality is no matter who is harmed and how much they are harmed, nothing is really harmed. God in its fullness, life in its fullness, continues to express and express and express. My heart goes out in compassion, in love, in appreciation. And I hold close everyone involved in that fiasco. and everyone involved in perpetuating it in the airwaves and in all of the other places that it's showing up. May they find a bigger, better, greater way. May we all see the wholeness within us. May we all know who we are, who we really are, not who we sort of are, not who other people say we are, but who we really are. Divine beings, free to express ourselves with no harm to anyone else and no harm to ourselves especially. I stand in such gratitude. Gratitude for those people who show up to help, for those people who step in and bring goodness to bear on situations like this, who put themselves at risk. I stand in gratitude for those of us who stand close by and hold a higher truth, hold a greater awareness, hold a knowing that there is wholeness within every human being, and we have the opportunity now to call it forth. I hereby call it forth from all of the people involved in this situation. I call it forth from that young man. I call it forth from the police, from the prosecutors, from everyone involved in this, that we may find a deeper love and a deeper humanness in the midst. I stand in the truth. That all is well. Deep down, underneath, behind the appearances, behind the struggles, behind the pain, behind all of the other stuff, there is a place within each person where all is well. There's a place within life where all is well. And we move into that wellness as we believe in it, through faith, through our lives. And so in this gratitude and with a great sense of hope and power and possibility, I release this treatment now and I let it be. And so it is. So it is. Thank you. The title of today's talk is The Giving Tree. You may be familiar. How many of you are familiar with that book? Okay, a few people. It was a children's book a few years ago, and a few years ago. It's still around, but it was definitely out there a few years ago, and received a good deal of popularity, has gotten a lot of popularity. And I want to just kind of quickly tell you the story about it for those who may not have seen it, and that is, it starts with this little boy who's playing under an apple tree. And he's very happy, and he's playing, and the apple tree is happy, and he's happy, and everybody's happy because he gets to play under the apple tree, and it goes wonderfully. And the tree says, "Oh, I'm so happy that you're here playing with me." And he says something similar, and then that's wonderful. And then off he goes into his life. And he comes back a few years later, and when he comes back, he's older, and the apple tree is older, and he's like, I loved playing with you when I was little, but I'm too big to play now. I need money. And I thought, yeah, I can relate to that. I need money. And the tree says, well, I can provide you with money. Just take some of my apples. Get up here and shake them out of the tree and take them into town and sell them. And the little boy was so happy, and the tree was so happy because the boy was able to receive from the tree. And he took the apples and he goes into town and doesn't come back for a long time. And the tree got very sad because the boy didn't come back. And then years later, he does come back. And by this time, he is quite older. And he looks at the tree, and the tree says, well, here, take some more apples. And he's like, well, I don't really need more apples. What I need is to build a house. I need a house for myself and my family. And the tree says, well, I have these limbs, why don't you take my limbs, cut them up, cut them down, use that wood to build your house. And so the young man was quite pleased, or the middle-aged man by then, or the older man. So he was quite happy, and he grabs the limbs, and he goes up and he cuts them, and he gets them and just leaves this big trunk standing here. And off he goes with the limbs, and he builds his house. Doesn't come back for a long time. And the tree is very sad that he doesn't come back, and yet that's what happens. And then much later, an somewhat elderly man shows up with a looking at this tree and going, wow, I'm here. You have no more limbs for me. You have no more. And the tree says, but let me give you something. Let me give you something. What do you need? What do you want? And the man and the boy says, well, I'd like to have a boat. You know what those are? Holes in the water you pour money in. I'd like to have a boat. And the tree says, oh, well, I can help you with that. Take my trunk and build a boat. I'd be happy for you to do that. And so the man cuts down the tree, takes the trunk. He's very happy. The tree is happy. Everybody's happy, and off he goes. And then a long time goes by. And the man comes back, and he's bent over, and he's got his walking stick, and he can barely move. And he approaches the tree, and he says, wow, look at you. I loved you. I cared for you. You've cared for me. I've cared for you. We've been in this thing, and here we are, broken down and old. The tree says, well, how can I help you? How can I give to you? I'm so glad to see you. I'm so glad you're here. And the man says, well, I don't know that you can do anything now. He says, and the tree says, well, I really am just an old stump, and I'm kind of rotting out here and sitting here. And the man says, well, I could sit down. I could really use a place to sit. And so the old man sits down on the stump, and the old man is very happy, and the tree is very happy. And that ends the story. Sweet story, huh? Life is like that. The infinite that we talk about here all the time is like that. With a couple of exceptions. And that is that the infinite doesn't get sad when we don't come back, because it goes with us. And the other thing that's different is that the infinite keeps giving, and is never depleted. Ernest Holmes says in the textbook that we are in this amazing energy and power and field of givingness, that all it does is give and give and give and give, and it gives to us, and it gives more to us, and we decide how we can accept. Oh yeah, I'll take a limb. I want an apple. I want a car. I want a life. I want to travel. I want this. I want that. I want the other. I'm willing to and accept these things, and they just flow to us easily because that's what we do. That's who we are. That's how we are. We are in that kind of relationship with this infinite power, this energy, this something. Some call it God. Some call it life. Some call it all kinds of things. We live in this kind of meaningful, joyful expression, whether we know it or not, whether you think of it this way or not. We live in this connecting. We live in this place. Kriyananda, who was a disciple of Yogananda, said that the nature, or that everyone in the world is seeking bliss. What we're really wanting from that apple tree, or from our car, or from anything else that we're experiencing is bliss. What we're really wanting is to feel satisfied and joyful and blissful. That ultimately and finally, that's what we're about. And that's what we wish, and that's what we want. And we go, okay, I can buy that. Yeah, I like that idea. We're wanting bliss. And we find that bliss in various things and places. But what happens so often is once we get the bliss, like the limbs or the apples, we think that's the answer, and off we go. And then our bliss becomes less blissful, and our beautiful car gets old and decrepit. It stops smelling good. Especially, never mind. It just changes. And when that happens, we forget that it wasn't the thing that provided the bliss. It was the energy and life of the tree itself, the energy and life of God itself that is bringing this forward. But now here's the real interesting part. There is no difference between the tree and the man in the story, or the boy. We are no different from that infinite power within us that is providing to us. So that the bliss we are seeking is the bliss that already exists within us. And what we get to do is get out of the way and let that bliss come forward. Let that bliss show up in our experience. Let that bliss become visible. Now, what's that about? What's that mean? It means this. You and I are little, some of us less little than others, are little windows. Kriyananda says this as well, that we are little windows into the infinite. We are little views into the infinite. You are the very essence of life showing up in a particular way, a particular time, a particular opportunity. I like to say often that you're God's opportunity to be something different. And some of us are more different than others. And some of us are more energetic and excited, and some of us are quieter. Whoever and whatever we are showing up not just as our individual selves, but as the window into the infinite that we also are. We're bigger, grander, greater than anything we have seen or than has shown up yet. See, self-realization, coming to that clarity about yourself. This is not anybody else, this is Bob. Self-realization is the recognition of the qualities of God within you. Self-realization is the recognition of the qualities of the infinite, if you prefer, or of the universe, or of the ultimate, whatever language in that is most comfortable for you. That is what self-realization is all about. And those qualities, among other things, are life and light and love and power and peace. And finally, joy is kind of the ultimate of that. See, you are an expression of the infinite love, light, life, joy of God. If you don't mind that word. If you do mind that word, use something else. We're it. I don't know about you, but for me, that's a really interesting and pondersome idea. If I really took that to heart and spent some time thinking about it, it might change some ideas of what's important to me. It might also give me a different view as to what my gifts are. Because if my gifts really are ultimately and finally those things which are tied up in or expressions of that one power, that one light, that one life, then it's not just my little me that's in charge here. And it may just mean that when I feel a gift inside of me that wants to be given, I need to get off of my duff and give it. Because it's more than just about me. It is about me and the infinite. Or whatever part of the infinite I am bringing forth and bringing forward. What if that little idea in your head that says, I would love to do so and so and so and so. What if that's really the infinite's idea for me. I don't know how it can happen. I don't know where it's going to come from. But it's for me. It's what I am here to do and to be and to live and to say. Wow. Had an idea once. Several ideas. But one of the ideas that I had once was that I should be a world traveler. And I had no idea how. I had no money. I lived here in Atlanta, and I scraped by on practically nothing. I had no money. I didn't know how I was going to go anywhere, how I was going to do anything. But the first place I wanted to go was California. I hadn't been there, and I thought, why not? Everybody else wants to go to California. It seems like a good idea. And somehow or other I did. I made the plane reservation. I made the plans. I made a plane reservation because at that point I just made the reservation. I didn't have to pay for it yet, a long time ago. And I made a bus reservation at the same time. So I figured one of the other ways I was going to get there. And I took off, and sure enough, I got there. Before that, I knew that I needed to get home to my family when I was in college in Kansas, and I didn't know how in the heck I was going to get home because I didn't have the money to do that. But I knew there was something in me. There was a gift. I needed to say something to my family that I couldn't do on the phone, and I couldn't do any way except in person. 2,500 miles, hitchhiking. Made it in less than driving time. I borrowed a friend's football jacket so I'd look butch. It worked. People trusted me because I had on a football jacket. Go figure. All the way across the country to Florida from Kansas. Wonderful trip. Had amazing experiences. Everything from one guy who was on his way to his aunt's funeral and was in tears and asked me to drive for him because he couldn't drive, and I ended up doing pastoral counseling and care with him, speaking to him of the God I knew at that time, because I had that gift I needed to give. To another guy who had a revolver laying on the seat next to him, and we were stopping at all the candy stores between where he picked me up and where he let me off, and I'm still not sure what he was buying and selling in those candy stores. But it didn't matter. See, if you've got a gift to give, and it's yours, and it's tiny, and it's small, and you have no idea how to give it, build a fire under it. Pay attention to it. Because that is the infinite saying, I want to become this as you. I want to become this in a way that is there for you. See, and I believe today, in today's craziness, in the world that we live in, that is we've treated about it already today, that we all have within us flames, ideas, thoughts that would make a difference in this world that we're in. And we are being pushed and pulled by the infinite to do certain things, and we need to go do them. I'm not here to tell you what they are. And they may not even appear to be anything to do with what's happening in the world of good and bad and all of that stuff. But there's something in you that's being called out to step up. I believe we are here in this day and this time to answer the call that is coming to us from our world. The world needs these ideas. The world needs this thought. The world needs this approach to life that honors everyone, that recognizes us for who we really are, not who we should be, but who we really are. Yo-Yo Ma, in a meeting with a group of people some years ago now, he had a group of students in a master class, and there were like 7 or 8 of them. And one at a time, they would come up and play for Yo-Yo Ma, and they would just be terrified and scared. And sometimes in that moment, the sounds coming out of those instruments weren't quite what they would like for them to have been. And yet they were there and they were making those sounds. And he said to them, The sound you make with that instrument is unique to you. No one else on the planet can make that sound with that instrument. It's yours, and it's yours uniquely. And therefore, trust it, enjoy it, feel it, taste it, smell it. Go deep into what it means that you're creating this particular sound, whether it's a good sound or a sound that some would say is not so great. Get in touch with that. Get connected with it so that you then can more fully decide and choose. What do you do? How do you do it? How do you connect with a greater sound? Is this the sound you want? Is there a greater sound that you would like to experience? Is there something more? See, it's in tapping into or discovering those special gifts inside. Maybe that quiet one, maybe that big loud one. Some of you know your gifts. I know you. I know you know your gifts. You're loud and noisy with them. And that's great. And you're showing up with them. And that's great. So whether it's that or whether it's that quiet part of you that hasn't been fully expressed yet, it's in recognizing the gift in you that you find your bliss. That's where your bliss lies. It doesn't lie in fighting against these things in your life. It doesn't lie in trying to be something you're not. It doesn't lie in any of those places. If I can just overcome this obstacle, holy Moses, if I could just become organized, that's mine. I finally accepted I'm not organized. Those of you who work for me, around me, you know that, right? Well, the harder I try to overcome this disorganization, the worse it gets. I don't find my bliss by trying to get over being disorganized. I find my bliss by seeing the order and organization within my disorder. Because my mind works in a different way than everybody else's. My thinking goes in a certain way, in a certain pattern. And if I trust that and follow it, I find my bliss. If I curse it and criticize it and damn it and push it away, I don't find bliss. I find grumpiness. And then I take that out on you and everybody else. Yeah. So whatever it is that's nudging you, calling to you from within, follow that. Listen to that. Fan the flames of that. That idea, that thought, that desire, that wanting. Because that's where your bliss lies. We're talking about, this whole series right now is talking about reimagining our call, reimagining our purpose. No matter what your age, where you are in the whole spectrum with the tree, whether you're the old codger sitting on the stump, or whether you are the kid playing in the branches, and I don't know about you, but I'm all of those at one time or another. Whatever you are, wherever you are in that, it is understanding and discovering your gifts that's the first and most important part of this whole business of my purpose, my vision, my idea, my calling. What is calling to you is that voice within you that's saying, do this, be this. I know it sounds crazy, but do it anyway. Because you can. Because you're wonderful. And so am I. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you. So now we're going to have a report, a word from our sponsor. Yeah, a word from our board member. No, we're not. I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun. Have a seat. I told you I'm not organized, okay? I admit it. Let's treat. Let's take a little moment to meditate here. And let's take a moment to treat. And let's take a moment, first of all, at a graduation ceremony in 2002. Mr. Rogers had all of the students present take 1 minute of silence to honor and recognize all the people whose gifts had brought them to where they are in that moment. I would like for us to take a moment now, a minute, to recognize within us all of the people, all of the gifts that have brought you to this point right now. So I step in gratitude into the awareness that all of the gifts that have been given to me in my world and in my life are actually gifts from the infinite. They are the giving tree giving to me in so many ways, in so many times, in so many places, for which I am deeply, deeply grateful. And this gratitude guides me toward my greater gifts within me, the gifts I want to give, the gifts I want to pass along to other people, the ways in which I would like to see Spirit in me as me known and recognized by others. Whether it's the gift of a dollar handout or the gift of a hug, the gift of a thought, the gift of an appreciation of life and of love. I offer the gifts within me to other people, the gift of joy, the gift of love. I offer the gift of beauty. I offer the gift of power. I offer the gifts of peace and harmony. And I trust that the power within me, the power of life itself, the power of spiritual law, the power of the way life works, is operating in me in such a way that these gifts I want to give are now already on their way out to being given. Nothing stands between my freedom to give and the gift given. So I open my mind and my heart and my willingness to give of love and light and life, to do so with ease and grace, to do so with joy. And I recognize in this those things within me which are so pressing are what matter. They are the love of God expressing as me, right here and right now. This is my truth. I do let it be so, as only I can do. And so it is. Once a month we ask a board member to come forward and to, first of all, let you begin to get to know them a little bit, and secondly, to tell you a little about the state of the center and where we are and how we're growing and what's happening. And today, our newer board member, Bob Townsend. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. Thank you, Dr. Bob. Yeah, the green light is on. That means it's on, right?
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm Bob Townsend. On my badge, it says Robert Townsend. I like to identify myself as the other Robert Townsend, so you know who that is, the comedian himself. And geez, I'm glad, to be here and to kind of speak for the board. CS Midtown is a place where we are driving to develop a robust community of like-minded individuals who adopt and follow the teachings of Ernest Holmes. Speaking for the members of the board, we are dedicated to stabilizing our financial position and growing it to a level of long-term health. And we ask that you join us in this endeavor. There are two things that will ensure that our center is sustainable from a financial and spiritual perspective. They are, one, current members giving more, and two, new members joining and giving. We need both of these to grow. In keeping with our teaching and the manifestation of all that is good, prosperous, and abundant, we know that this is all possible. The long-term financial and community health, and as is our way of saying and affirming. And I know this to be true, and so it is.
So it is. Mm-hmm.
Our current financial status and shortfall of year-to-date actuals versus budget traces simply to reduced attendance and contributions. It's very simply that. Year-to-date, we have cut our expenses by nearly $10,000 with a net shortfall of about $3,000. We had a fruitful April and May where a number of members have stepped up and increased their contributions. We thank them for that and thank all of you who have contributed to the center through pledges, plate contributions, volunteering, consciousness, or simply showing up. Those are all forms of giving, and we are grateful for that. We continue to have a significant savings account balance of $36,000 plus to cover any further budget shortfalls going forward, which I know we're not going to happen because we're treating for that right now, aren't we? For this, we are grateful. We average approximately 50 members, give or take a few one way or the other. And if we can increase giving by 10% and an incremental 10 members per week, we can meet our financial budget and our financial budget goal and then grow from there. What do we need to do this short term over the next couple of months? Make a commitment to the pledge program we began a couple of months ago. And two, invite neighbors, coworkers, family, and friends to visit with us on Sunday. Starting today, we will track and report on reaching our fundraising pledge goal using the thermometer that you'll see outside, thermometer sign. You'll find pledge cards on each side. Have you not pledged? And you see it in your mind and your way to do so, please do so. Our goal is to increase our incremental contributions to $8,500 per month, I believe. And we have a stretch goal of $10,000, an incremental $10,000 a month. Should we reach those, then we will have a very stable financial condition to grow from. We are currently at an incremental $7,000 per month. So we got a little bit of headspace that we need to fill. Longer term, and more importantly, I think, is where we're going in October and on to 20,000, or 2020 rather. First one is crafting and distributing our message. We have a theme that we're working on. You are invited. And a tagline: to change your thinking, change your life. We are beginning to put this together in a means of communications. We are, developing marketing materials that we all can use to tell the center's story. 4, we are looking to develop strategic relationships with the local creative and technology communities to attract new members, source innovative thinking and activities, like, for instance, Georgia Tech or Georgia State or SCAD. If you know any people there that you think might be able to help us in attracting resources from there, please talk with one of us. We're developing a marketing communication strategy that includes targeted media, both traditional and digital, and a public relations effort, all directed at attracting new members. 5, we're planning a major event. We don't know what that is yet. We have no idea. It will present itself at the appropriate time, that we will get to the community around us. And 6, we are increasing classes and tutelage for deeper understanding of our spiritual journey that we all are on. So we're working on that. Again, if you have any ideas, suggestions, contacts, relationships that can help us in our efforts, we invite you to talk with us, trustees, the practitioners, or the volunteers. We value all of you, and we value everything that you think and do.